Thank you very much, President Moorhead, for that introduction. It is truly an honor to offer remarks this afternoon, and I am humbled by the opportunity. 2021 graduates, congratulations. Today, you officially become graduates of the University of Georgia. What a remarkable achievement. To the family, friends, faculty, and other supporters, congratulations to you as well. You have been there for today's graduates, and I know that I express their sentiment when I say thank you. Your support has been everything. Considering this address and what I could possibly share with such an accomplished group of graduates, I thought about the things that have mattered to me. I specifically reflected on significant and impactful events and moments that have occurred on our campus and in our community. To be truthful, there are many, but one event really helped center and crystallize what I would like to share today. Earlier this fall, the University of Georgia dedicated markers in honor of the National Pan-Hellenic Council historically Black fraternities and sororities here on campus. This was an exciting day as hundreds gathered on the lawn outside of the Tate Student Center to attend the dedication. But what struck me the most is that scores of UGA alumni returned on that day, many who chartered those organizations on our campus over 50 years ago. They came back to campus because of what the markers represented to them. These markers represented a pivotal experience in their lives, a shared experience of being students, involved, engaged, who made significant contributions to the University of Georgia through these historical organizations. The markers are a permanent symbol and reminder that they too are UGA. Now, to the average person, these are basically rectangular pieces of granite, beautifully hewn, cut, engraved, and installed, but granite all the same. At a base level, large rocks. And yet, they signify so much more. They represent to so many students and former students the significance of what it means to be a UGA student, a Bulldog, what it means to be seen and recognized. The memory of that day when the markers was dedicated stays with me today as I reflect on the significance of markers in our lives and how they are representations of where we have been, what we have done, how we have moved through this world. I invite you to consider the markers of your own life. Some are large, momentous, and public, such as today, as you graduate from the University of Georgia, here on this beautiful campus, with all of the pomp and circumstance deserving of your achievement. Right here between the hedges at Sanford Stadium. This is a marker of your life. Today is also special to me as I have many friends who are graduating this afternoon. Stacia Fink, who completed her master's degree, Dr. Katie Chapman, Dr. Ashley Love, and special congratulations to my friend and colleague, Dr. Alton Standifer, who marks 2021 with both a wedding to his lovely wife, Brittany, and completion of his doctorate. Double congratulations. And yet, for every celebratory public marker, there are numerous others, most of which are private, more personal, but just as significant in the trajectory of our lives. There's so many messages that would have been appropriate for my address today as you all embark on the next chapter of your lives as graduates of the University of Georgia. But I want to encourage you to consider the markers of your life, those moments, those events, those conversations, those memories that make you who you are, that make your life what it is. I want to encourage you to not just give thought, value, and credence to the large public markers that are perfectly hewn and polished, but also continue to consider those markers that may appear to be just simple events that mark your lives. To others, they may seem insignificant, but those happenstance conversations, those everyday events, those random comments can have a remarkable impact on you as a person. In preparing this address, I reflected on my own life markers. For me, those that have had the most personal significance are typically those that involve others. Conversations, private moments, memories, and experiences that remind me of who I am and who I strive to be. Let me give you an example. My husband Kevin and I have 2 young daughters, Katie and Chloe. Perhaps the most cherished moments are those when Kevin and I are at home with the girls, making s'mores in the fireplace, watching Doctor Who, and just being together. Those are those moments when I must stop, consider, look around, and realize that I would rather be no other place in the world. These small markers that occur on any given winter evening are priceless, life-sustaining, and memorable. There are other markers that can determine the future trajectory of your life. These, while often unplanned, can be life-defining. The year, 1990, and it was spring semester of my junior year. Everyone was making post-collegiate plans. The soon-to-be titans of business were knee-deep in internship applications. The pre-meds were studying for the MCAT, and the future lawyers of America were drafting personal statements about how they would help shape the future of the American legal system. And then there was me, the history major, who had submerged herself in a junior thesis in the bowels of the library for months, dusting off books, scanning miles of microfilm, and enjoying the intellectual gratification of burying oneself into a specific area of intellectual inquiry. In other words, I had no idea what I would do after college. But then, a chance encounter with one of my professors changed that. Dr. Cornell West was a philosophy professor, and I had taken every non-major course that he offered. And he saw me on campus one day and asked what did I plan to do after graduation. In his usual style of talking faster than most people can think, he responded before I could and said, "You should go to graduate school. You would do well there, and I would be happy to write you a letter of recommendation." Needless to say, that sealed it for me. I honestly believe that that conversation is the reason that I'm here today. The intersection that occurred that day placed a permanent marker in my life. And I will tell you that while he was a brilliant professor, I don't remember any specific lecture, lesson, or assignment, but I do remember that conversation. It was a marker and a signpost, if you will, for my educational and professional life. The lesson here is just as there are markers that represent moments in your life, it is important to consider how you show up in the lives of others, just as Dr. West showed up in mine. What type of marker am I in the lives of the people that I meet? Taking the time to recognize life markers enables me to see the value in the smallest interaction, conversation. My markers not only define my life, but they are impenetrable tethers that connect me to family, friends, and community. There is so much that we don't have control over, but how we show up is ours to determine. What do I mean by show up? This is all about how we interact with others. It can be in person, virtual, or on social media. It can be in the classroom, our workplace, the Starbucks, or in an Uber. It can also be with our strongest friends and closest allies, or with acquaintances and perfect strangers. I will tell you that for me, I choose to show up as positively and affirming as I possibly can. I decided some time ago that I have limited energy and that negative energy comes at too high of a cost for me. But positive energy is like a hybrid engine. The more I use, the more I generate. So part of my decision to show up positively is self-serving. At the end of the day, I can't afford to just run on fumes because I burned all of my energy. I need to self-generate. After all, I cannot control the energy of others. I am a firm believer in being the change that I want to see in the world, and modeling the behavior that I want to see by treating people with dignity and respect. We are not an island. Life with all of our personal markers also intersects, bisects, and overlap with the journeys and markers of others. So how do you show up in the lives of others? How are you a significant marker, a marker that contributes to their lives in large and small ways? We impact and influence the markers in the lives of others just as they often impact our own. This has been particularly true for me this year because I lost my mother this summer. My brother Brian and I were fortunate to have two amazing parents who poured into us throughout their lives. We were truly the centers of their world. The devastating loss that I felt with my mother's passing cannot be overstated. Initially, this marker felt overwhelming and debilitating, but I soon realized that it was not just a marker in my life, but in the lives of the many people who knew and loved her. Interestingly and surprisingly, over the past few months, this marker has seemed to change, to shed layers, and become something slightly different. It has become a marker that is no longer focused on pain and grief, but on family, love, and a genuine celebration of what we have, rather than what we have lost. My Aunt Sadie, my Uncle Ray, my Uncle Larry, as well as a multitude of cousins, friends, colleagues, and others, have helped me to see the loss of my mother in a totally different way. They are here to support me today and remind me that I am not alone. I am not an island, but we share this marker, and we have a shared experience of loss that we have cultivated into a deepening of family and friendship that is stronger than ever. Too often we try to ignore markers and events that have negative memories, painful memories, memories of loss and heartache. While I would never encourage you to park near such a marker, I do encourage you to recognize that they too have value. Perhaps it is a window that opens when a door closes, the unlikely relationships, a shift from pain to purpose. Regardless, in your lives, always look for the lesson. That has been my approach over the last couple of years, living through a pandemic, personal illness, and then a loss. I am a person of faith, and therefore my constant prayer is, Lord, what is the lesson for me here? I don't find value in asking why me when things don't go my way, but I always want to make sure that I learn something from the experience. The reality is that life often requires us to do hard things. Many of our life markers are rough hewn, representing struggle, sacrifice, and real effort. Today may be such a marker for you. I am impressed and inspired by the stories that many of you have regarding your path to this day. Working parents, commuting students, those juggling full-time work and school, family responsibilities, financial hardships, loss, and other challenges. Again, you as graduates can do hard things, and you are here. Earning your graduate degree is an incredible accomplishment. Believe me, I know, I remember. But you have successfully completed this hard thing. Congratulations. Graduates, please remember that today is not just a significant marker for you, but for everyone who loves, cares about you, and supports you. The poet Lucille Clifton wrote, "Things don't fall apart, things hold. Lines connect in thin ways that last, and lives become generations made out of pictures and words just kept." Over the course of your lives, there will be many times you will recognize these connecting lines that last and impact not only you, but those who will come after you and those who are in your footsteps. Hopefully you will find meaning and purpose in those connections, those markers. As I close, consider the markers of your life. Allow yourself time to reflect on what really matters. I am reminded of the words of Henry David Thoreau, in which he stated, You must live in the present. Launch yourself on every wave. Find your eternity in every moment. Graduates, stand in this moment. At commencements and graduations, friends, family, and acquaintances tend to ask, what's next? What are you going to do now? While a perfectly valid and appropriate question, I would encourage you today to let today be sufficient unto itself. Rather than worry about or look into tomorrow, look around today. Enjoy the people who are celebrating with you. Enjoy the moment as you make memories that will hold. Today is a marker to be lived fully present in this moment. It is your day. So to the fall and summer 2021 graduates, my most heartfelt congratulations. Go forth and be well, and as always, go Dogs.